aliens and they're living in your town. They have arrived. What? They're all around. So many aliens living in your town. Are you scared of aliens?
What up, weirdos in Weirdo Land? How's everybody doing?
Fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, so let's get right into it. Lot of talk about stuff in the sky. And yes, we know it could be ours, but it could be theirs as well. Vicky, thoughts on all of the recent UFO activity here in Florida? We posed the question on KVJ about sending in your UFO videos, your photos, all of that. It has been a hotbed of information coming in. A lot of people have stuff they can't explain. Your thoughts on all this?
I mean, it's a little too...
Uh-oh, did her knob get turned?
That's what she said.
Beckett. Oh, let me turn Beckett's too.
I can't.
There you go. There you go.
We'll edit all this out.
Hello? No?
I think it's the button.
Yeah, I don't think I have.
There you go.
Boosh, boosh, boosh.
Uh-huh.
There is Vicky.
Boom.
You guys are popping.
Off to, I mean, just a fucking stellar.
You mean I could turn this button
Professional.
off before I laugh?
You
You
could.
there's
All
a
this
mute,
time.
a mute button right
This
Alright.
whole
there.
time.
All right, for editing purposes, let me set this thing up again.
Yeah.
Vicky, so much shit up in the air. What's going on?
Yeah, you know, if it weren't coming right on the tail end of all those balloon things and the things being shot down, I would have a little more, But because of that situation, I'm a little suspicious about all the things we're seeing. A little more than I would be.
Beckett, a lot of things in the air these days, but people will go, the naysayers, Bird, it's not UFOs, it's not aliens. And I agree. Most of the time, it's not. But wouldn't you say there is some stuff going on up in the sky that is bizarre, that is odd, that you can't explain?
That you can explain?
You can't explain.
Yeah,
My
100%.
T is silent.
100%. Just so the audience knows, I sent you guys a picture today.
I would like to show that off real quick. Yeah, keep talking.
So I got my old sailboat back in the water. It's at downtown at the city docks, and I was just having a good moment. I was like, let me take a picture before I go back home. So I snapped a picture, looked at it the next day, and there's this like green, weird, linear, but the light seems to bleed off the bottom a little bit. Picture that I noticed, and I showed my friends, and they're like, what the heck is that? And this isn't something someone sent in to the podcast. I took this.
Mm-hmm.
I took this with my iPhone 14 Pro with a great night camera, and that pulled up, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's weird.
Yeah, if for the people listening, it's a greenish oval. I guess we could post it on the Weird and Whatever Instagram page. Then people could speculate there on
I'm
it.
sending it to you right now in email, Denny's, just in case we want to try to pull it up. But yeah, I kind of thought it was a cool picture, Mr. Beckett. People are just sending in a lot of stuff from the KVJ Nation that is very cool looking. And it doesn't look like an airplane. It doesn't look like Elon Musk, whatever he's doing. It's weird shit. Unless Musk has figured out how to take something, split it into three, then have it all come back, and then shoot into the galaxy.
I wouldn't put it past him.
I mean, but then again, some people think he's an alien.
Yeah, there you go. Well, to more directly answer your question, yeah, I think there's tons of stuff there that was totally unexplainable. You know, and like we've talked about on the podcast, I think it's actually probably a form of a definition of wisdom. The more you learn, the more you realize you don't know.
And I get a lot of questions, Vicky. You go, is alien activity, ghost, paranormal stuff, is it all connected? Are you against that theory?
Some people think that anything, whether you're talking about Bigfoot, you're talking about Loch Ness, you're talking about ghosts, you're talking about aliens, that it's all related because everything is interrelated here on Earth and that we all interact with everything. So by that alone, that we are talking about things that can be related. It may turn out the whole time that, hey, maybe it's aliens that have been dressing up like Bigfoot and pretending to be ghosts. Who knows?
They have a great sense of humor. Go, these humans really fall for this Bigfoot prank. It's amazing.
I have a theory that maybe they're related, or maybe they're different, but because a potential alien race that has the technology, the understanding, the advanced society, that they're aware of the afterlife, the spirit world, and all of that, and whether they work with them or it's almost like what would be an analogy? It's kind of like how we relate with animals, right? Like, it's not the same thing. We're not related, but they're there. We interact with them, sometimes great, sometimes bad, depending on the context. But it is a known entity, the animal kingdom, and us as a human species. So as an advanced race, I have a theory that whether they're not the same thing or similar or related, that they're actually aware of each other, if that makes sense, and they understand how to live or not live with each other.
I flashed the photo Beckett sent up for the people. They're all looking at it. A lot of people think it's a cool photo. Some people speculating.
Swamp gas, right?
Swamp gas.
Do they work for the military? It's swamp grass. Hey, alien touched my butthole. It's swamp grass, Beckett.
I look in the sky a lot. Not for nothing. Like, I've never seen anything like that before.
You know,
Ever.
People think I lie all the time about the ghost stuff, about the UFO stuff, and I get it. I understand why they would think I'm lying, but I swear to you guys on everything. When we did our podcast 2 weeks ago, you guys walked out in front of me and you made the left, and then I walked out third, and I saw something.
Yeah, you started yelling.
I really did. I saw something I can't explain, and it was bizarre. Now, of course, it could be anything. It's being examined and it's being investigated by the UFO hotline, and we'll see if there's anything that was released at that time. But what I saw looked bizarre to me.
I think your picture, especially when you blow it up, it's extremely interesting. He should turn it into
I would
the
agree with
center
that.
as well.
I don't think that's a shitty picture by any means. And while we're on pictures, let's go ahead and throw up a Joe Ponton picture that we've got. Mr. Ponton, if you don't mind, after Denny's gets this picture up. Now, Joe Ponton goes on the beach all the time. He sees weird shit. You took this picture, and when you got it back, none of the human beings had any faces. In fact, the humans looked like aliens to me. It looked like a TV show. And then I was trying to put it through a filter to see if there's anything that can make that effect look like that. And you have to really kind of zoom that in. And I wish we could zoom that in. Yeah, you're not gonna be able to tell by that picture right there. But if you zoom that picture in, nobody there has a human face. What up with that?
We were all kind of freaked out about that. That was one of the rocket launches at night. We were walking down, and there was a whole group doing like a kumbaya session. It was really kind of odd. And I said, I've got to snap this because it just looks so, it's anomalistic. You know, it's just a bunch of people around, and they were all wearing white. And then their faces just were all kind of grayed out.
When you saw them, were they kind of culty like? Did you get that vibe? Because when I looked at that, they look like they're dressed in space outfits. I'm trying to pull up the picture right now so you guys can see it. It's very bizarre looking. And when you zoom in,
Interesting.
yeah, you're not going to fucking get it without the zooming in.
I'll try and resend it to the group, or I can send it to the Weird and Whatever, blown up and kind of cropped out.
Why don't we do this? When you get back on the bench over here, get it, zoom it in, and then send it right to Denny's, and then he'll put it up for the audience. We'll get back to this.
It was odd. It was that whole night had some weird things. We had some lights in the sky. The rocket went up. I sent the video. A light appeared as the rocket moved. That light never moved at all. I followed it for a minute and a half, and that light never moved. It just appeared.
Now the naysayers, Vicky, Beckett, they're going to go, all right, there's so much shit up in the air. There's missiles being launched. Fuck you guys.
Well, I get it. And it's good to be skeptical about all of it, but
Denny's got him. Someone just tried to break in, and Denny's got him.
Oops.
As you were, Vicky. Not that this whole podcast hasn't been one distraction. Hey, look, it's free.
It's because I'm here. I'm having that kind of day, so I will take the fault for anything that goes wrong tonight on the podcast.
No, it's all me. But
It's universal.
Please go on.
I understand people being skeptical, and the thing is, unless you experience it yourself, you can always find some way to break something down. You can always find a way. Oh, that's this, that's the other. But if you were the one taking the picture, if you were the one experiencing it, you would not be able to debunk it that easily.
Yeah, and it's not that you have to try to win everybody over, but I think when you do experience something cool and you can't explain it, you want your fellow neighbor to experience that weird that weird shit as well. You can't ever win anybody over. I'm going to try to zoom this in. I don't know if you guys can see that on the camera.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that was weird.
That's weird looking, right?
Looks like the Easter Bunny.
They look like the Easter Bunny, or I don't know, man. I can't.
You think they're the furries? Is that what they call them?
Oh, did they have a litter box?
Oh shit.
They just. I don't know. We'll try to get it back on the screen. You can't see diddly dick. Fucking reflection. All right. Well,
Well, we've talked about this either on and or off the podcast. Think about the things that almost are cliche now, whether it's gravity, the earth is round, all that people used to get thrown in prison. You were, you were against the church. You were an idiot. You were against the government or the king or whatever. That we now are like, duh, that's obvious,
Oh, Vicky would be thrown in a lake full of fire with her mystical ways.
Yeah, I wouldn't be here. No, I'd already be gone.
I'd be dead too. I think we'd all be dead. I don't know if the olden times would. Beckett would do the best in olden times, right?
Oh, yeah, I'm an old soul.
No, that's not what I mean. We're all too fucking weird.
Yeah.
You're the least weird.
Yeah.
You're gonna be able to get down on olden times. I'm gonna be a wild card. I'll be a jester, and then I'll lash out at the king, and they'll stab me and cut my head off and throw it in Vicky's fire
I'm a
lake.
witch. I'm a witch.
I do it the old school way. I'm a gentleman in the streets and a freak in the sheets.
Speaking of alien stuff and, what people are going through, dear weird whatever, my 7-year-old kid worries all the time. I don't know what to do. He's scared to go to therapy again. The first few times we went, he really struggled. He says he keeps seeing weird spaceships in the sky. He's worried about our environment, and all of this is out of the blue. He says that strange men visit him sometimes at night, and they are from outer space. He said these beings speak to him through the mind. Do you think my son really saw aliens, or is this a reasonable explanation? Or is there a reasonable explanation for all this? Vicky, thoughts?
I mean, sometimes anxiety and certain disorders can make you have hallucinations that are very real to you. So on the logical side, that could be what's going on. But there's a lot of people that really believe that aliens do, and they pick certain people and they do experiments and they study them. There's even a school of thought that shadow people do that as well, and that they basically are here to observe. Sometimes they do some tests, and then they continue to check on you throughout your life.
Becca, you hear talkings of shadow people, kidnappings, alien spaceships, thoughts?
I would give that kid a camera. If I was the parents, I would get him a good camera and let him have his whether he's making it up, thinks it's there, it actually exists by chance. Give him a camera.
Don't tell him there's a camera in there either, right?
Don't tell him.
Well, I mean, anytime someone knows there's a camera on them, everything becomes not 100%. Then it becomes is it right to ever put a camera on somebody when they don't know?
Right.
When we're talking about aliens and your kid is legit having a tough time and spaceships and all that, I think you want to get the best result and legit figure out what's going on. What are your thoughts on that, Vicky? If you were to secretly film your kid who's saying all this, is that wrong?
I don't think it's wrong, especially if you're trying to get to the bottom and do what's best for your child. But when you said a camera, I was thinking give him a camera to take pictures.
Exactly.
I thought that's what you meant.
Yeah.
So that when he says he sees these things, he has a camera. He actively, so in a way, you're giving him empowerment over the situation, which will decrease the anxiety.
That's right. And then you can go, Mom, Dad, look at this. And maybe it's like a picture I took with the weird thing over the boat, and then his parents and him, they can have an actual legit, and maybe it spurs a thing of photography with that he's super interested at 7, 8 years old.
And I think you guys got a great point, but do you also see my point of getting a realistic snapshot of what's really going on?
Yeah.
I think, and I'm not a father yet. I hope to be one day. And I know this is controversial. We've talked about that I would chip my kids, whole deal, whole deal. Until the kids are 18, I'm going to sound old school. If you're under my roof, it's my rules.
Oh, dude, you're not going to sound old school to me. I 1,000,000,000% agree. You're trying not to raise an asshole here. You're trying to raise a good human being, and you're going to do what you got to do to make sure they're safe and they're a good human being. And I don't give a shit if people think that's bad.
So you hit the nail on the head. The number one factor is safety. Okay?
Yep.
If I think that I am videoing my kid that's 7 years old and that this is potentially something that I could gain knowledge on that could help my kid's safety, screw what people think, whatever, I'm doing it. 100%.
You're not doing it to exploit your kid. You're doing it to really understand what's going on. If I was a father and my kid came to me going, there's spaceships and aliens and Dad, I'm scared. I want to know if it's make-believe, if he's going through something else, and that there's a psychological thing going on. And I also want to know if it's real, because I'm open to all of it.
Yeah. And it's not really in my interest. It's in my mutual kid's interest. That's the motivation. Like, sometimes you can do a spy cam because, nefarious reasons, right?
Yes.
But like if you're doing it because to your point, it's a safety, it's an understanding, then I think that's totally kosher. That's totally on par.
That's different than a hidden camera from so many other circumstances, in my opinion. But look, people are going to go, how dare you ruin the rights
Where's the line
of a
drawn?
7-year-old? They deserve to vote.
Not until they're 18.
But honestly, he's 7 and he doesn't want to go to therapy.
Well, he's been to therapy. It was a longer email. There's a lot more details. They keep going to. They've been to 3 different therapists, and the kid just has an unbelievable meltdown of every single time. It's been unbearable. It's traumatic. It's be watching your loved one going through a terrible experience. They just don't like the whole therapy thing. They don't want to talk about it. They don't want to talk about it to strangers, and that's how they feel.
Do they say that they've been told not to?
What do you mean?
Whatever is happening, did they say that he's not allowed to?
That
say
was
it?
not in the email, so I can't speak upon that. It's a good question though.
So I am a huge believer in therapy, a proactive therapy approach, and I encourage it all the time. That said, you have the hood of your brain opened for someone to be tinkering with. And there are some bad, just like there's some bad mechanics, there's some bad therapists, right? And they can put people down the wrong path. To continue the mechanic analogy, I've had to kiss a lot of frogs to find my print, so to speak, in a mechanic thing where I got screwed. The dealership's trying to give me new brakes. I don't need it. They're like, oh, this is $10,000 or whatever. You need a new car from us, whatever. And then I found a good mechanic that actually like treats me well, saves me money, does things that are great for the car and like helps it run better and all that stuff. I think therapy is the same thing. Therapy, like sometimes like you got to find the right person. Like, being cheeky a little bit, look at Good Will Hunting. That guy Matt Damon's character didn't have any person that broke through. And then he got Robin Williams, and it was the right kind of fit.
Right. And I did notice they did take to multiple therapists. What I would also suggest, since it's a 7-year-old, I would suggest that they ask them to draw pictures of things. And that way you have more evidence, and it may be an easier way for the child to get out what he's experiencing by put it on paper rather than talking to someone.
I love it. All great insight. I mean, Denny's, you're about to be a father-to-be. You've got, kids. You've got aliens. You've got abductions. You got Beckett's mechanic.
Yeah. The mechanic analogy. It really did help paint a picture.
Your kid comes to you. He's 5, 6 years old. Dad, I'm seeing aliens. There's spaceships running amok, flying amok.
Spending too much time with Uncle Jason.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean,
do you think your kid's full of Bologna?
no, I just know that the imaginations can be rampant in that era too for a child. So you just try to listen to see if it's something that maybe is being hyperbolized or if it actually is something they saw, which, I mean, at that time they could. I have memories from when I was a child of things that I saw that I don't know if necessarily were true.
Yes.
Like I saw shadows outside a window once, but I don't think that was anything. I think if anything it was branches or something, and my imagination kind of filled in the void. There's just You can misconstrue things easily through young eyes.
Yeah, as a little kid, Denny's brings up a great point. There's some experiences I had as a kid I thought were so quite vivid and just you go, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is going down. But did it really go down that way, Vicky? Or maybe it did, and you were young enough, and that little pocket of innocence and magic. There is a supernatural power that some people do believe.
Yeah, they could. The one thing I would warn this particular parent about is sometimes when kids have experiences with negative living people, in order for them to deal with it, they turn that experience and they blame it on someone else, whether they blame it on ghosts or they blame it on aliens or something like that. So just make sure whatever path you choose, continue to try to find out what's going on.
I love it. I think that's great. That kind of leads into one of the Ask Vicky's questions somebody had. I want to make sure I find this email. It was basically she's divorced with her man, and they have a kid. And when he goes over, okay, here, so it says, dear weird whatever, my ex won't stop playing Ouija board with my child when he's visiting with him. It makes me so angry, and I notice a difference in his attitude. I'm not saying my kid is mean. I'm not saying my kid's an asshole. I'm just saying he seems different. My ex won't listen to me and thinks I'm being so silly. I'm even complaining about something so stupid as a Parker Brothers Ouija board. Is this Ouija board shit for real, Vicky? Or should I just relax? Love the podcast. Bird Beckett, are you single? We'll unpack all of it.
There are plenty of people who play with Ouija boards and nothing happens to them. But there are documented cases throughout the United States and in Europe where people have messed with a Ouija board and there have been detrimental side effects from it. All I can do is tell you I would never touch one. I would never allow any of my children to touch one. And just keep a close eye, especially if behavior changes.
Well, here's my whole thing, and this has got to chap a lot of people's ass that listens to this, that are divorced, where you've got an ex that does shit with your kid that makes you want to fucking just wring their neck, and you can't believe, for example, they're playing Ouija board with their kids, and they're pretty young. The kid is very young. I believe under 10 that he's doing the Ouija board with. How do you handle that as a divorced or somebody that's got a kid and you guys are no longer parenting in the same house?
Well, I'm wondering, did he do it when they were married, or is this something he purposely picked up and started doing to irritate her? So that would be another thing. What's his motivation? Has he always whipped out the Ouija board, or is he just now starting to do it?
I believe it's a bonding thing with the child.
Play trucks or something.
I think, okay, but and I'm playing devil's advocate here. Dad, the Ouija board's fun. Okay, son, let's play the Ouija board. I want to relate to my kid. I personally, as the dad, don't think Ouija boards are dangerous. I'm trying to relate to my kid. Let's play Ouija board. It could be as simple as that, where, because I'm telling you, Vicky, we got a lot of people that go, y'all sound like clowns when you put so much credibility into a Ouija board. There is a percentage of people that totally believe that. So he could be in that avenue, and that's what would be tough when you've got a parent who goes, guys, it's a fucking Ouija board. Calm down, to, oh my God, Ouija board.
But that's when you have to be the adult and say, you know what, it doesn't bother me, but it bothers my child's mother. And I have to at least respect that view long enough to say, let's pick another activity.
I'll give a shit. She fucked me over when we were married. Fuck her.
It's your kid that you're fucking over.
We're role playing right now.
Yeah, but it's your kid ultimately that you could, because sometimes these things, what happens is if you actually get an attachment from a Ouija board, it is very patient, and it will wait 10, 20 years, but it has you marked, and it will come for you at some point.
Screw you, lady. I don't believe in that superstitious bullshit. You're filling our kid up with poison. Whoosh, beer. Fuck you. I mean, I'm just saying, there are situations where you can't just have a conversation with people.
Yeah.
I mean, most of the time, you cannot with some of these situations where you have a kid in a divorce or a breakup.
If he's doing it specifically to tick her off, then she needs to act like it doesn't bother her, and then he'll find something else.
Okay. Becca, what are your thoughts on that?
So I was thinking, I think that Denny's and I's personality would be, I don't know how exactly to put it. Like, we would actually say, I don't know, I kind of lost my train of thought.
It's okay.
J-Mo.
It's a whiskey, baby.
No,
Denny's.
it's a whiskey.
Well, it's kind of like here. The way I would handle it, if I was married to somebody and we had a kid and we got divorced, and they were doing something that I thought was terrible for the kid, but I knew I couldn't really by law control it, because I don't think by law you can say you can't play Ouija board with your kid.
No.
What I would do as a parent would try to, kind of like what my dad did with horror movies. I was so scared of horror movies as a kid, and then my dad sat me down and goes, Bird, don't be scared of this bullshit. Somebody sat down and wrote words down, and then there's actors in front of the screen or in front of the camera, and there's guys and women behind there. It's not real. It's not scary. And you almost kind of break down the sort of the Wizard of Oz.
The mystique.
The Wizard of Oz kind of technique on that. And you show it's not that scary, because you're not going to be able to control it. I think you're right, getting mad, getting all crazy. You can't do that. That's going to make some people go, oh, I can't do that. Ouija board Wednesday.
Mm-hmm. What I was going to say is that I think Denny's and I would have the opinion, not to speak for Denny's, that, I have heard him say, and we've agreed, that even though we might be a little skeptical, we still don't want to poke the bear, right? Does that make sense? We don't want to poke the bear, even though we might not, 99% of us might not believe in the Ouija board. So if they're in the love of a daughter and a son is something that you don't want to F with, even some of my friends that aren't the greatest people, that's their one the one thing,
Even
right?
them.
The right thing. And if there's any doubt, and you listen to someone like Vicky that has experience in this sector, why even F with that, right? You might not believe in the Ouija board, and to Jay Bird's point, he's like, you guys believe in that? I'm just bonding with my son. And someone like Denny's and I were like, all right, but why even risk that? You know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah.
Well,
If the kid believes it, then that still is causing something to happen. That kid's going to create a belief in something.
And then it depends on the bond that's created with that board. So that's where it becomes dangerous, a person who depends on that board. So if that child starts taking out that board and doing it himself because he made a friend through the Ouija board, that's when it's definitely a problem.
Yeah, no, I think it's all great perspective. I always try to just throw in that little extra, because there is a percentage of people going, I'm trying to bond with my kid, guys. It's basically like me telling them a scary story or watching a horror movie with them, because some kids are into the ghost and the horror shit. I was very much into that kind of stuff and sought it out. I wanted to look at horror movies and books and Ouija boards and all that stuff, and I can just see someone not believing it going, I'm bonding time. Because there's some people who do not take the Ouija board at all seriously.
Totally.
Good stuff. Great stuff. Let's get into some Ask Vicky. That was one of the Ask Vicky questions, by the way. Ask Vicky. Please ask Vicky why I only have ghost experiences while in the shower or bathtub, no matter where the location, whether it's Florida, whether it's California. If it's in the shower or a situation with bathtub shower, I see or feel spirit. Why would that be? Lance.
Some people think water is conducive to spirit activity. That could have something to do with it. It also could be the mindset when you're in the bath or the shower. We should be a little more relaxed. We should not be looking over our shoulders for this, that, and the other. We're trying to get the worries of the day out of our mind. And so you're kind of in that relaxed state. And that could be why spirits choose at that point to actually interact.
To piggyback on that question, I would say the opposite is for me, and I'd like to get your opinion. When I am in the shower or the bathtub, when I'm doing that stuff, I tend to think about very depressing things, almost kind of more just, I mean, not to the point where I'm sad, or just deep thoughts, death, afterlife.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like maybe, and I have my own perspective on that. When I'm taking a shower is probably when it's the most quietest in my life, or I'm not trying to do something for the show, or I'm not trying to do some bullshit, and maybe it kind of strips everything away to the most raw state mentally. But I'd like to get your opinion.
On you?
Well, just why would you think that is?
why.
What would one either go in either direction of what Lance says or what I would
So he's
say?
saying
It's just your own,
experienced the
yeah,
opposite.
yeah. It's just your own personal preference of what you happen to do when you're in the shower or bath. I mean, some people use it. I would say the general person uses it for relaxation and to let everything go. But the way you're doing, and you say you're thinking about the afterlife and you're thinking about those kinds of things, that to me would bring more spirit activity in towards you when you're doing that, just because you have it in the forefront of your mind.
And possibly that's what could be going on with that person as
Maybe
well.
he's not even conscious of what he's thinking of at the time.
Sure, and that's why I bring up my example is because, sometimes the majority drowns out, well, it usually does drown out the weird anomalies of a situation. Most people go in it relaxing, but that's not everybody.
Yeah. And it could be that if it happened enough times, now he's anticipating it to happen. So that's going to bring it in. And even if it's not made up in his head or he's imagining it, he has put himself in the mindset and state for the spirit activity to happen.
Very cool.
I believe it's a version of, like we discussed, it's somewhat of a meditative type silence, right? Like you got chat rooms, podcasts, TV shows, radio shows, after the show podcasts, you got texts you're sending, emails you're responding to, friends you're talking to, and then you finally have that silence because most people don't and can't bring their cell phone or
Absolutely.
any kind of their technology or their TV or their radio into the shower. So you're confronted with that silence.
So that's when I kind of go into a deep thought. And we're borrowing a meditation situation. I feel like when you do meditation, you are trying to connect with spirit. But I think everyone's got, whether it's in the shower like I experience, everyone's got that moment where they kind of, for a second, go, all right, what's going on with me, the world, the universe? Where do I come from? Those type of deep thoughts. And I'd like to ask y'all, when is that you find, when does that strike you? Is there a situation, Denny's?
I mean,
Is it after weed?
It could be, driving home from something when you got 20 minutes. You're kind of just the sun setting. It puts you in that weird introspective
Capping
thought.
off the day.
Capping off the day. You're like, all right, what do I have tomorrow? Blah, blah, blah. The weekend's on the approach. This is good. You're just thinking all those type of thoughts. It kind of puts you into you see the sky, it's turning orange into a red, into a violet. There's a lot happening.
It
there.
lends to an introspective, and that's probably the best way of describe what I'm talking about. That introspective kind of headspace where it gets to more of the spiritual side of things, where you kind of do a little checklist of matters of the heart moments. Oh, I got to do that. I got to contact that. Shouldn't have said this. Got to be better at that. That's a good point.
I'd say driving home from work is usually a point of thinking back.
I think that's probably for a lot of people.
I'd imagine so. You're kind of concluding your day as far as anything work related.
I'll bring up something interesting that I reflected on. So for a long time, I lived literally my office 3 minutes from my home. And then my home existed in a development that I did most of my business. So if I wanted to go home and let the dogs out, make a protein shake, that's what I did. And because I'm in a people service business, I got home and I was exhausted and I had only so many words on the day. I get home and I didn't want to return that phone call. I was decompressing on the couch. When I moved east, I found that 25 minute drive psychologically and mental wellness was really, really good for me. Because when I left Wellington to head east to East West Palm Beach, I had 25 minutes to your point, think about the day, return phone calls, check my voicemails, whatever. And when I got home and I was ready to decompress after the commute, I felt good. Yeah. I had returned the texts, I had returned the phone calls, I saw my emails at a red light, and I felt good. So it was interesting just because I always framed it as that living close was great for me.
Yeah.
And it was I go home, make a protein shake, and let the dogs out. But actually being able to block time, because I was like, hey, I'm going to set up these appointments both middle of the day so I don't have to go back and forth, whatever. And I blocked that time. And then on the way out and then the way back, I could say, okay, this is it. I can decompress. I can listen to Third Eye Blind for the last 5 minutes, and I'm good.
When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change.
I love it.
Vicky, when do you kind of find yourself getting in spirit mode? And again, some people get twisted on the terminology and the vocabulary. When I say spirit, I'm talking about connecting just on a spiritual level of being here on this fucking weird rock.
Yeah, well, I'm 5 minutes from work, so I don't have time on the ride home. For me, it's when that time period where all of my chores are done, all of the animals are fed, tucked away, tucked in for the night, and it's right before I go to bed. That's when I decompress and I think about things and I do something that's non-electronic and that has more thought to it. A lot of times I'll read a book, but then I'll be reading the book and then a thought about something will come, and that's when that's when my time is, right before bed.
Yeah, again, I don't want people to get it twisted. When I say thinking about death or the afterlife, I think that's a very healthy thought you should have and confront. It's so taboo to talk about. Now, I'm not saying you hunker down and you put a tent down there and think about it all the time, but I think those moments introspective, just being here, connecting with your fellow humans, it's a good thing to do. And I think a lot of people don't realize how important that is. I think mental health and self-care is a good thing. Now, I don't like it when it gets to the point where it's your identity and everything you do is self-care. No, we're all struggling. And you're not special. We all have some shit we all got to deal with. But I think it's very important, and it's something that you have to consciously take care of.
Without a doubt.
So, how ghosts are kind of attracted to white noise and stuff? Do you think a shower would attract ghosts because the sound of it's kind of white noise-ish?
Very good. Our most skeptic is thinking about this.
Does he has a label of more skeptic than me now?
Yeah.
I like it.
$1 billion%.
Really?
Didn't I have him like episode 2?
Oh, Beckett.
You were quick to turn.
Yeah.
Beckett's a Faz. Fake ass skeptic. Skeptic. Oh, we got him, Vicky.
I like
We
it.
turned him.
I like it. At risk of TMI, I meditate in the shower.
That's
I do.
not TMI. I think, I wanted to ask you really quick. I know we're in the middle of the Ask Vicky segment, but a lot of great conversation. You talk about the importance of the showering and the bathing in the Eastern culture, and I always find this very, very cool. If you don't mind talking a little bit about that.
So the Eastern culture, they take bathing very seriously as a relaxation, not only for hygiene, but also as a predominant part of their day. So I was always get in the shower 10 minutes, 12 minutes, hit the spots you need,
Jerk off, shampoo.
all the regulars. And then,
I'm sorry, Vicky.
so you do all the regulars and you get out and you're in and out and quick, and it's just you're doing it to get it done as quick as possible because it's just one of your chores in your day and you're trying to get your day going, right? I lived my life like that for a long time. And I was kind of turned on to the concept of doing the opposite of that, enjoying that shower. That is your moment. And the other thing that is great for it is if you're a creative person or even just a person who is trying to keep that positive mind state. It's a little difficult to do always, but if you start your day off with a positive mind state, you're in the shower, it's kind of gross, but it's rushing blood to your head. It's causing your all the capillaries and ventricles to expand, and all that blood flow to your brain is good. You want to start your day with as much blood flow to your brain as possible. In fact, they say wake up, drink a glass of water, and take a real hot shower, and make sure you spend your time in there, clean yourself, and then get out, and you're already starting off on a positive uptick.
No, it's very important, I think, to
Super
get
simple change.
connected, spiritually connected, sit down, meditate. Meditate.
Well, just because I took a liberal arts credit in undergrad that I thought I was going to hate and it was one of the most difficult classes I took, I learned that in literary works, which translates into movies and all that, and it's one of those things, you don't, until you become aware of something, you don't really notice it. Then you become aware of something and then you seem to see it everywhere all the time. And what that was explained is a lot of writers in literary terms, this goes back, as far as you can go, is that at the end of novels and now in movies, that water is like the purification of the main character, the protagonist, or whatever. So whether it's that Ethan Hawke movie where it's raining at the end, or in Splash when they dive in the water to go meet each other, water is such a key moment of renewal. And it's one of the weird elements we have because it's something that gives life. It's critical for life. It's what we're made of, but it's also something that can kill you.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh! I just talked about this on the KVJ show today. My attitude towards water has changed so much. I don't like drinking water. I can't stand it, but it's the most powerful thing on the planet.
It's insane.
It's absolutely the most powerful.
We always
thing.
talk about just trees growing and grass growing and water. You can't fuck with it. You just cannot. You cannot mess with Mother Nature.
It always finds a way to make life.
Yeah.
I mean, Vicky, what are your thoughts on trees and water? Don't worry, that is not the Ask Vicky question.
And that comes up plenty.
Last Ask Vicky question. For the last 2 months, I have been consistently been awakened by something at between 3 and 5 a.m., almost like it's grabbing me out of my sleep. I also feel a presence watching me when I take off my clothes sometimes. I started to read up on this stuff, but it got me more scared. Any idea what's happening? Shelley.
I mean, there could be a variety of things that are happening. I mean, it could be, I guess the most simple explanation is that you have a spirit in your house for whatever reason.
Does she have a titty ghost? That's
Well,
gotta be rough.
I mean, it could have been somebody who was a little bit of a peeper and a perv, when they were living, and they're still a peeper and a perv.
How terrible and uncomfortable is it? You get haunted by a peeping Tom ghost where if you are sensitive to ghosts and if you believe in that world, you know it's there just watching you take off your clothes. Do you ever come into contact with those kind of stories like that?
Oh, I've come across a million creepers that some of them will just stand in the corner and watch people, that they don't ever have any other interaction other than the fact that they're watching them.
But I'm even talking more specifically on a subset level where we're talking you're showering and you are taking off your clothes and you've got the creepy crawlies. There's something sexually wrong going on.
Yeah, there was this one of my earlier investigations. Every time she got in the shower, the spirit was bold enough to appear in the shower as a shadow inside the actual shower stall with her. And it was consistent every time she went to take a shower.
Well, remember the first place you investigated with me? And I wouldn't say I've ever had experience quite like this. It was the shower incident where there was the old woman that flashed her face and then you remember that story, right?
And it's funny you're bringing that up because the house that I'm just talking about, same thing. The homeowner went into the restroom at night and she bent over to wash her face, and when she lifted up, there was this old woman's face with no eyes in the mirror.
That's what.
That's terrifying.
That's what it was for me. It was in the mirror though. It was in the shower, and as quick as she was there, she was gone. But there was something there. At least that's what I thought. But yeah, it was very much water, and boom. Again, kind of lends to Denny's thing. Maybe I just have a thing with water.
Maybe
a connection. I don't know. Just a theory, Beckett. Your deep thought, water theories, old women.
Old women. No, I don't know about old women. You have me to old women. No, but water is an interesting relationship that we have, and for sure. Well, I grew up swimming. I swam competitively, and it's one of the few moments that, when I get out of the pool, like if I'm a little down or depressed, like I think that it and I know Jaybird's big on meditation, and meditation, as I've described on the podcast, is one of the hardest things I've ever tried to do. But jogging helps, but I think swimming has been the best because I'm conscious of my breath. I can't bring my cell phone, can't bring my ear pods in there, and I'm going and I'm just so comfortable in my brain space, if that makes sense, during swimming.
Sometimes you have to trick yourself into doing shit you don't necessarily like that's good for you. Meditation is work, man. Like flossing your teeth. We all know you gotta floss your teeth because you don't want butter cutters. You gotta do it. It's not the most fun situation to floss your teeth, so you have to almost kind of trick yourself into getting jacked up about flossing your teeth or even meditating. Meditating is one of those things where in the beginning you're so gung-ho to do it, you want to do it, you're excited about it, it becomes work. And then You have to consistently do it to make sure it's a prevalent part of your happiness and growth. If not, it's not going to work. It's like people who don't take their medication regularly. You're not going to ever really get a true snapshot if you don't do it consistently. And if you really want to get into meditation and do it the right way, you do it multiple times a day, in the morning and at night, to really get grounded of yourself. Who the fuck's going to do that?
Yeah,
in modern
100%.
day times, you got to really be enlightened on
100%.
a level of, I want to be better.
You can't go to the gym for 2 weeks and then expect results and be like, it's tough and I quit. I didn't see results, right? Like you got to be like a lot of things.
It's
You got to
like
be consistent about
lifestyle change is the hardest thing for anybody to do because you have to change your lifestyle, and change is something humans necessarily don't love to do all the time. Going to the gym or walking every day or not eating the whatever, it takes a discipline change of a comfort you don't want to give up.
Yeah, it's true.
It sucks.
It's really true.
Vicky, how are you doing in your personal life these days? That's my last Ask Vicky question because I'm about to lead into something.
Sucks.
Why does it suck?
Well, I mean, I'm alone. I mean, I have my friends, I have my family, but I'm alone, and I've technically, by definition, been alone since 2004. It's getting a little old.
And are you saying that because you personally want to have? I'm not saying carnal, Denny's. Don't put words in my mouth.
We were all thinking.
I'm not saying this hot affair, but you want to connect with somebody that you can watch a movie with,
Right.
hold a hand with.
And
Companionship.
and have intelligent conversation. Like growing up, my best friends were always guys. Like I always hung out with guys instead of girls growing up. And I miss having that male that I could have conversations with. And that also may have a little bonus involved as well.
Did you? Wait, I'm sorry, I have a thick hat on. Did you say bonus or boner? Thank you.
I love it.
So I think what we're gonna do, and we're kind of floating this idea around,
All right.
a little Vicky dating game.
I like it.
Okay.
I don't like it. I fucking love it. But I did warn Vicky, when you do a dating game out in the public, you can attract some weird shit. But it's the Weird Whatever podcast.
Right.
So.
But here's the thing, like you all have to be involved. If anybody applies, I have always made the wrong choices. So I'm not making the choice.
Oh.
You guys have to get together and make the choice.
like
Now let me ask you this, Vicky, because some dick face is going to email me and go, well, if Vicky's a psychic, and she knows all this,
I don't read for myself.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
basically what you would tell somebody.
Right.
Is that typically how it is?
It is for me because I have a vested interest in an outcome of something. So I can't trust sometimes what my thoughts are that are coming into me, whether I can, if this was the right person or not, because, hey, if they meet a certain criteria, I'm going to think they're awesome, even though, they're Ted Bundy. So,
Okay, chat room, what do you guys think? Would you guys be into listening to a Vicky dating game? I would think it's fun. I think it's awesome. I've got a few ideas on how we should handle this. But if you are interested in a Vicky, just for a drink, maybe for a croissant, a scone. Let me ask you this, Vicky. Give me a this is your dating bio, and
Okay.
you remember those dating shows back
Yeah.
in the day? The person would get on TV. Here's what I'm into. I like blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Here's your shot to tell the public what you're looking for in a mate.
I would really like somebody that has a shared interest. So if they have any kind of background in the paranormal, that's definitely a plus. So that I could have those conversations. It's not that I wouldn't want someone who's a complete skeptic. It's okay if they're a skeptic and they challenge me because I'm so up to the challenge that I can go ahead and answer all your questions and we can go back and forth. I don't want somebody to make fun of me because of my beliefs. Don't be such a skeptic that you're
A dick face.
Yeah.
Exactly. Thanks for filling that in.
1,000,000,000%. No, I think that's where everyone gets confused with. I think it's okay to not believe in what
Right.
your person believes. Just don't be a dick face about
Right.
it. As long as it doesn't infringe on anything, you could be a person like yourself that believes in ghosts and does paranormal stuff, and that's not going to infringe in a relationship on a personal matters of the heart level, in my opinion.
Right. And the thing is, actually, what I like is if you do have a skeptic and they're presenting these and challenging your ideas, as I'm defending, I come up with another idea. I'm like, oh, wow, this could also fit in. So it actually just helps me figure out my own beliefs if someone challenges a little bit.
It's a little bit like the conversation between agnostic and atheist, right? Like, live and let be. We don't know. You don't know. We all think that, or at least we do as agnostics, but don't have hostility to what other people
That's where it
believe when
gets
you don't know
annoying.
either.
Exactly.
That's where
You
it gets
know?
annoying.
Well, even with politics, we don't have to be on such an edge to where we're going to cut each other. And again, we're not going to get into politics and about, every politics sucks. I'm just saying, on any kind of level, you don't have to be so edgy. Yeah, to the point where we can't try to find a little bit of, I don't know, pizza, common ground.
It is weird if somebody brings up that they're vegan, there's so much outlash, But if somebody says they eat meat, then there's so much outlash. It really just people just love jumping on those.
And me and Danny's are set a little different because we see it every single day. As soon as you bring up any topic, whether ketchup's delicious, you'll get flooded with "fuck you, motherfuckers! How dare you vote?" Like, wait, what?
Yeah.
We're voting. We were talking about ketchup here. It's a weird thing. So we're on the other end of opinion like that. But no, to your point, you're very right. The edge, Denny's. And with that said, I think it might be time for some
Denny's Random Facts.
Oh, the sweet Denny's does a great job finding these facts. Vicky, our educator, she grades him. If she likes the fact, she gives him an A. Even an A+, Beckett. If you don't like it, F-. Oh, rats. Denny's, the floor is yours.
Well, so I teased it on the video earlier about sumo wrestlers, but there's a 400-year-old Japanese tradition where people bring to a square filled with sumo wrestlers their babies, and if the sumo wrestler can get your child to cry, that means they're going to live a very healthy life. The fear is that within the first few years of the child's life, if they can't get it to cry, that means that child is not going to have a happy life. But it's a ceremony that's been going on for 400 years, all the way up to present day, of trying to scare infants with sumo wrestlers for good luck.
Interesting.
Very weird.
I can't tell if Vicky's still lost in the dating world conversation. or
thinking
she
about-
absolutely hates that factoid. Vicky.
It's not that I hate it, but you know how I always want to know why? Like how did this start and why?
So it started initially because sumo wrestlers are revered in Japanese culture, and one got scared during their first ceremony, and it became a tradition, and then it became a fear of parents that their child would not cry. So it's very important to get your kid to cry at this thing, so they'll bring them back multiple times to where some kids get scarred by sumo wrestlers.
Hi,
Great,
Denny's.
fun.
What a weird... But, I mean, why do they keep doing the tradition if it's terrifying children?
But it is unique, and you did have an answer when I asked you for more details. So I'm gonna go.
Well, because I looked it up, too. I was like, why the heck would they do that? But they did it once, and it got a reaction, and then it continued as a tradition.
I'm gonna go B+.
All right. She's
Old
being-
habits die hard.
She's kind of being nice tonight. I don't know if I like a nice Vicky. I like Dicky Vicky.
So-
Get him, Vicky.
Yeah, I want her to get out there, date, all that fun stuff. So I don't see why this isn't done more often. And maybe you guys have heard of this, but in New Mexico, they have a desolate quarter-mile stretch of Route 66 where on the grooves of the side of the road that are designed to wake you up if you're falling asleep at the wheel, if you drive over them at 45 miles per hour, it actually plays the song America the Beautiful. I'm going to play a clip for you guys so you can hear what it sounds like. But yeah, why doesn't more things do this? It's pretty cool though, but as you're driving, if you drive 45 miles exactly over that, it plays the song America the Beautiful.
It's creative. It's like I guess that's the way the phonograph in somewhat
The record player, yeah.
finals work, right?
Yeah, the
In a way.
vibraphone.
Yeah.
Look, don't we want little Easter eggs in life like that?
So
I think it's fun.
they
I think
picked
it's fresh.
a desolate stretch to try that out on. I hope that catches on because it's kind of cool. I mean, I don't want everyone driving off on the side of the road, but
just to hear it.
if you pick a good stretch of road that's, where it's pretty easy to drive down, I think that's a cool concept. I can't believe it's not done more.
No, it's fantastic.
That's an A, and the A is for you had audio.
Yeah.
Oh, someone likes an audio aid.
I like somebody that goes above and beyond.
Oh, thank you.
What if it's a
It
drug
was a
deal?
wife suggestion.
What if it's a drug dealer's? I got all this cocaine and I murdered 3 people just for you, Vicky.
And I got it on audio.
Do you love it?
Depends on the people.
And I have audio, Jenny said. All right, Jenny says you were.
So they did a study and they found out that less than 20% of laughter actually comes from jokes. A majority of human laughter is a societal behavior that we've learned in order to develop trust amongst each other.
I can absolutely see that. Well, think about it in your past. Think about when you've been in an uncomfortable situation and someone says something, you either say it or they say it, and there's a laugh. That laugh is a bond going, hey, friend, come over to my island
That
over here.
is.
I'm getting what you're talking about. I trust you.
It's called
That's a great fact, dog.
behavioral contagion is what that's called. That's a person mimicking a laugh or a smile, and that could be even if you didn't even hear what the person said. You're doing it because it shows that you're a acknowledging person, and a person recognizes a smile, and they recognize that as a peaceful thing subconsciously.
I could also see that being an evil thing if you really know how to manipulate people. Oh,
100%.
I'm going to laugh at Denny's jokes. He's so funny.
So people-
I want your money.
Well, so some people who are crooks or criminals who are deceptive, they know those societal ticks, things to do to people. They'll smile at you. They'll affirm you with a sharp handshake or a affirming rub on the. They know how to do that stuff. There's also what's called a social laughter. They noticed in a study with 3 to 4 year olds, they're 8 times more likely to laugh in a group than at the exact same thing by themselves. And it's because, again, another societal cue showing that you're relating to the group and that you're a peaceful entity amongst the group.
100%. It happens with yawning all the time. It's like
Yawning,
almost like
it's a sympathetic behavior.
It's like almost like biological, natural, always happens.
I'm yawning
right?
because you're talking.
And not for nothing, we teach that in sales. You have affirmative behavior. So if I'm talking to you and I'm nodding my head,
Can we role play real quick?
Yeah.
I'm the fat cat guy that's coming in, and I want to spend some money, but I don't know if I really like your company yet. Hey, what's going on? I want
you
to
don't
buy
like my company, or so you're
just
not.
what your whole thing. I'm here to buy some cars and some horses, maybe some cigars. What do you got, Beckett? Huh?
Well, just so you know, I'm not in sales. I'm an educator and then a facilitator.
You're totally ruining the whole.
Oh, no,
the whole
That's what I said.
it's part of his pitch.
I had a whole.
It's part of my pitch.
I had a whole thing.
It's part of my pitch because I'm not really in sales. I educate you and I facilitate it because I have a lot of wealthy clients that if they get a sniff of sales or they're a walk-in in my office, they throw a huge wall up. And you know my personality, like this is all genuine, but they teach this in sales. If I draw a through line to that person, because they ride, and I'm like, oh yeah, I rode with this trainer Rob Cluccio. They're like, oh, you ride with Rob? I was like, yeah, I picked up the wrong lead, blah, blah. And they're like, all of a sudden, I can almost visually see the walls coming
yeah.
down because I've done some connective tissue with there. But when I'm on a showing and it's not my client, and my job is to sell the listing, it's affirmative, right? So when I say something, I was like, okay, yeah, so what do you think about this? And the nodding of the head actually creates like a affirmative like kind of response, right?
Understood.
And when I walk through a house and I look at the listing and I'm like, all right, we need to declutter, we need to personalize, whatever. Hey, what's that little stain on the ceiling? Well, we replaced the roof 2 years ago. It's not whatever. Paint it because if they come in here and I have an affirmative showing and they see the stain, they'll start, and they're like, well, you can just tell them the roof is 2 years old. It's not a problem. I was like, here's the problem. Now we have a negative line of thinking.
Yeah.
Now they're going to be like, well, how old's the air conditioning?
What else is old here?
Yeah.
What else is leaking?
How old's the air conditioning? When's the last time the pool was Mars-sided? You get down like a negative thing. So in psychology, which the good salespeople use that in there, it's a huge part of what we do.
There's a tact in speaking and framing things that can take negative things and frame them better. And it's not like you're being manipulative. You were just setting that situation up to be slightly better than it would be, than it appears. It's just a way
Some people use it to be manipulative in my experience. Some people, it's a double-edged sword. Some people use it to be more clear.
One of my favorite things, and we're talking about laughing and, mimicking and all that, but my whole thing is, you know what I love the most? It doesn't happen, for some reason, it doesn't happen as often as I would like it. I love when I laugh so hard, it hurts me that I'm on the ground laughing, to where you're a genuine belly laugh might even be better than sex. And I know that sounds controversial, but there's something very spiritual, emotional, just, I don't know, man.
I agree.
The human spirit, when you get a genuine belly laugh where you can't control.
You can't breathe.
That's one of the greatest, if not greatest, feelings on the planet. And you wonder how you can chase that, harness that feeling. It's such a fleeting feeling.
It is.
And the older you get, I think it's not as prevalent as it is as a kid. Every now and then, I mean, I'd laugh and have a good time on the morning show. Do not get me wrong.
Absolutely.
It is very rare do I have a belly laugh experience on the air. I'm going, oh my God, man, I'm really having such a fun experience. Do you get that, Vicky?
Yeah, it's usually it's something stupid I've done myself.
Do you get it? Is it one of those things where the older you've gotten, the less it happens, or is that just a personal experience, or is that just what happens when you get older?
It happens a lot. I mean, I get to the point where I can't breathe, and it almost hurts my face, and I can't stop. I start crying, but it's not really tears.
Well, if you have a moment with that with another human being, I'm sorry, you level up with that person. If you both are laughing,
bonding.
even if it's someone you don't like, and you both, let's say you're working with somebody and you don't like that person, and then you both experience something.
It does.
Or you're both
a
belly
bond.
laughing. You got a connection, man.
100%.
You level up as a duo or whatever it is.
Psychologically ingrained in us.
Dennis, as you were.
Okay, that fact was a B.
I would have given it an A. I mean, look how much laughter, talk.
Excitement. Yeah, no, it's just, that only happens less than 20% of the time. You're actually laughing from something funny.
I'm
Everything
actually,
else is socially.
to be candid, I'm actually surprised it's that high.
Yeah, so a true, the one you're talking about is probably 8% of the time.
So I'm not a weirdo saying I don't get that belly laugh all the time.
Well, humans are weird. The minute we see something, it's old hat, We already want to see the next thing. So once you hear a joke once, it's now you have to hear an even crazier joke to achieve that same level of laughter.
Well, I would ask you guys this question. Can you think of a time you belly laugh from a joke? I've had times where I have laughed my ass off at a joke, don't get me wrong, but usually belly laugh jokes are because it wasn't a joke. And it was,
yeah. No, I think for me, a lot of times it's not a joke or even a bit or a comedy thing or a movie. I'm not saying that can't happen. It's usually an experience where it's just like a random thing that goes, oh my God, that was fucking weird or odd or funny or unique,
and that's
in
what
that
makes
moment.
you belly laugh about
Exactly.
it.
It's usually
so odd and unique.
It's usually, if I'm thinking about it in the inventory of belly laughs, it's usually at the expense of one of my boys. And there's something that happened, and he's telling it now. He
And
has a
you're
good
like-
mood about it, but at the time he did it, and I am in tears, curled up in fetal position on the floor laughing. I love it.
Laughter is one of those things, man. Dick faces can get away with more. Whether you're a guy or a girl, if you are able to make somebody genuinely laugh, I didn't make the game. You get a little bit more leniency on shit because people that make you laugh or laughter in general is like a drug.
It is.
It's something you seek after. That's why people seek after it on entertainment, because laughter, it does something to the human spirit.
It does.
I'll take it a step further. I have friends, girls and guys, that have conveyed to me, and I've probably experienced it too, how attracted they are to someone, not because they are very good looking, but because they're hilarious.
Well,
it's very attractive to the opposite sex.
Let me ask you this, Vicky, because this was a topic we haven't talked about on KVJ, and it's very gender. They go, women tend to find men that are not good looking more attractive when they're funny. Let's say a guy's a 5, but if he's funny, for the woman, that can bounce him up to an 8 for her. But when it comes to a man with a woman, if a woman's funny, it does not do anything as far as attractiveness. What are your thoughts on that? The person they're like, I know it's a controversial thing. What are your thoughts?
Well, there goes my whole dating profile. There goes what am I going to put there? But
again, absolute.
For me personally, funny, no, because I don't want you competing with me being funny. So for me, it would be intelligence.
Yeah,
you get bumped way up for intelligence.
And I agree with what you're saying. And I think too, everyone's different. I think there's some people that really get turned on no matter what you look like or whatever's going on. If you got a kind spirit and intelligence, there's a place in the world. And I think if you're dumb and stupid and if you're beautiful on the outside, there's a place for you as well. There is a seat for every ass. I think there's sometimes obstacles for that, but I think there is.
There's definitely obstacles. I remember I'm this old, back in the AOL chat room days. And I remember I could definitely hold my own in the chat because I was intelligent, I was witty, I could keep up the conversation. And every single person was like, wow, you can't believe how many girls we talk to that can't even like put a sentence out there. Yeah. And so that was kind of my hook on AOL, was that I could carry on a conversation. So I hooked them with my personality and my intelligence. And then I sent them the picture.
At the end of the day, people want to feel good. People want to feel good, and not to oversimplify it. Whether it's meditating and having clear headspace, clearing out your day, J-O-ing in the shower, laughing. The basic through line is
what? What do you say? Hold on, you can't.
J-O-ing in the shower.
Jerk
reference
off?
to earlier.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. Yeah. J-O-ing. All right.
Yeah. Or if you like mental stimulation, which is called a sapiosexual, people like to feel good, right? And that is like the basic through line of human nature, I think, right? Like you want to feel good, whether it's sexual or mentally or clear headspace or all of that. Like, not to oversimplify it. Like people
That's
just
the
want to feel
ultimate
good.
goal.
Yeah, I don't think I articulated myself with that. The guy that he was talking about, he was just saying women are less judgmental than men are when it comes to.
Yeah, most women. Yeah.
Again, no, there's no absolutes here. But if someone's funny, women are going to give more of the benefit of the doubt for the guy, and it's not on the same end.
Right.
If Beckett met a woman and she made him laugh, he's not going to, according to this emailer, he's less likely to find her attractive. But if it was you on the same situation, you would find it more attractive. Do you think that's true?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
We're generally speaking, women are not as shallow.
Generally speaking.
That's how I would frame it too.
Yeah, I think that's what they were trying to say. They go, what are you guys' honest thoughts on that?
Yeah.
And I just want to do a disclaimer in case there's some Becketts out there. I do have an Android. So
green text?
Just telling you. If you think like he does.
Shocked me that so many people sided with Beckett on that.
What if you
we live in a shallow
what
world,
if you
dog.
fell for a blue texter?
Dude, no one.
I'm not the one with the prejudice.
She's a fucking hippie like me. We don't look at people like that. I don't give a shit what you're fucking texting me on. What's in your heart, not in your phone. Denny's as you were. We're really cutting Denny's rate of fat. We're trying to give you guys some extra content. I think we're going to be off next week, right? Because of the play.
Is that next week? Yes, it is. You are right.
That's
We'll
why
be
I'm
off
giving some
next
extra
week.
content. And I know we're going late, but I want to give y'all some
School
extra
play.
content. Yeah. His wife, Jen, does a great job helping direct or produce. I'm not sure the right term.
Doing the Aristocats this year.
Yeah, and I remember when I texted you last year. I go, Beckett, I fucking love the theater, and he thought I was at the Kravitz Center. He goes, oh man, you're at the Kravitz. I go, no, I'm at Denny's wife's elementary school. We're watching Lion King, and I love it.
I'd go to that.
It's a fun
Let's go. Let's go.
Absolutely.
Really?
All of y'all. Let's all go together.
definitely go.
Let's support
Are there
it.
tickets still available?
Yes, we can get you a dog.
I'll see if I can get a ticket for you guys.
Okay.
Denny's as you were. We apologize for interrupting you, but creating conversation.
It is.
And that's what this is about.
So this one's weird just because I guess I never thought about it before, but there's only 2 mammals on Earth with the proven ability to move their bodies in time with an external beat, meaning dancing. And the only other animal is a sea lion as far as mammals go. Now, parrots can keep rhythm, but they're not a mammal, but they can keep rhythm, which led scientists to think for a long time that only animals with complex vocal learning abilities would be able to dance in rhythm. But the sea lion is the only other animal that will dance in rhythm besides humans.
Interesting. Because don't dolphins and whales have complex language systems?
So that's what threw off the theory. They thought parrots were the only other creature until they discovered sea lions can move in rhythm.
Oh, wait a minute. Humans are wrong about, I don't know, just studying shit
Well, yeah,
on
I mean,
Earth
they
with
were-
animals and, I don't know.
According
Earth.
to the University of Santa Cruz.
I even have a tough time with rhythm sometimes on the dance floor, so
Well, Becky, you got to come over here.
I'm no sea lion.
I think a sea lion could probably dance better than I can.
Vicky, thoughts on that one? Did you love it?
B plus.
It's just weird, right?
interesting.
It's just weird.
We got sweet Vicky tonight. She's in the headspace of love, amore.
Yes.
No, I didn't have a shot.
Do you want one?
No.
Go on, Dennis. You're crushing, dog.
So maybe because I didn't know the story, and you guys might know the story of Typhoid Mary.
Oh,
So
we,
I know-
we all know that story.
Well, so I know I've always heard the term, somebody's like, oh, she's a Typhoid Mary, or we got Typhoid Mary here as a joke and stuff. But I didn't realize that she, in the early 1800s, she carried typhoid fever with no symptoms. And the doctors told her that she had typhoid, but she wasn't sick. And the doctors go, I guess you're fine to work. And she worked as a cook, where she infected tons of people cooking food for them. I didn't know that story. 3 of them died. But that's the true tale of Typhoid
She was
Mary.
somewhat of patient zero, no? Or she was just something that was asymptomatic?
She was just an asymptomatic woman who worked in a kitchen, and it got a lot of people sick with typhoid.
Wow.
But that's where that term comes from, that one woman. It's a real woman, Mary Mallon, an Irish immigrant.
What a scarlet letter to wear.
And that's
Becky, I mean, we got Becky talking about scarlet letters.
I mean, I keep thinking about all those kids infected me at school, so that's an A.
Okay.
go.
Yeah, I just didn't know she was a real woman. I thought it was just a thing. And this will be the last one I do for you guys here. So ever since we've discovered Pluto, February 18th, 1930, it's the farthest dwarf planet. It's not technically a full planet. Ever since we've discovered it, it's never made one full rotation around the sun yet. In fact, technically since the time of discovery, it is still less than 1 year. Its 1 year will be March 23rd, 2178.
Good gosh, I did not
So it's
know
gone
that.
around
That's bizarre, right?
Before we discovered it, but since discovery, it has not been a full rotation around the sun yet.
That's as the tortoise on the hair.
That's how far that planet is.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love space shit. Gosh, man, we are not alone, Beckett. I'm telling you.
We're definitely not alone.
As we're talking, really, Dennis. By the way, great job on that.
And you end with an A, by the way.
Pluto.
Do we have the zoomed-in picture of the ponton?
So I did find one. Let me pull it up here.
Because Mr. Ponton did come over here, and I don't want to cut his time short. I do find this picture weird, but Ponton brought up something we got some emails about. You were talking about being on the beach and seeing something that was odd or a creature of sorts, and people go, is Ponton just trying to get some shine on the microphone? What did he really see out there? Is there some bullshit out there?
And I have that up for you guys.
Love it. Mr. Ponton, if you don't mind coming back on the microphone, give it up for Joe Ponton. Woo woo! So here is that picture. It's up right now. It looks like they have fucking weird diamond hoods on. Now, maybe somebody out there knows about camera and photography. What would make that happen in that group? They're either A, wearing masks, B, it's a weird phenomenon with a camera, the moon, nighttime, or 3, aliens, y'all.
I don't think they were aliens.
I mean, come on. I'm trying to make it sexy, Ponton.
They could be aliens.
Yeah, so you say you've been experiencing some entities at the beach, no?
Yeah, I've had a lot of weird shit happen at the beach. Experiencing stuff in the kind of brush up
Touching
against
you.
or you'll hear the steps running up behind you, and there's nobody there
At the beach.
Oh yeah, it happens all
running
the time.
running on the sand as if they're in tap shoes.
No, more just you'll hear like the shuffling of sand, or you'll hear feet coming up behind you. It's also I'm never there. I'm there by myself a lot, but I'm never the only person there. You know what I mean? I do run into friends that go there. There's the dog beach. There's a lot of people there, but quite often I'm at the beach, and it's typically not far from where I found the guy who committed suicide. That's kind of the anomaly that you'll get that cold rush of air, and then you'll hear steps. I do wear headphones sometimes, but I usually take one ear off because there are a lot of people that will come up if I'm looking for shark's teeth or whatever. But you have a focus, and that's one of the things that I've been working on when I stopped smoking my marijuana and all the other stuff. I'm trying to get my focus back. I have. It's been almost 4 weeks now.
Oh wow.
You are without a doubt in the wrong hub.
Yeah. I'll be back, boys. Don't worry. I'm just clearing my head.
No, I think that's. By the way, that's a good thing. I think we all need to kind of sometimes hit the reset button. Whether you are, let's say, you're the most sober person on the planet, there is a reset button you can hit to getting away from some of the habits that may not give you the best full-on sober clarity.
Yeah.
And whether it be a drug, whether it be the internet, whether it be whatever it is, there's things I think we all know deep down inside where we know we can be rid of to get us at our most, our best mental point. It's hard to do.
Well, that thing that was around me, that negative energy that's been around me, I was really not sleeping at all. I was under 3-4 hours a night. On a good night, I'd get 4. I'm averaging 7 for almost 3 weeks now.
There you go.
It's amazing. I can do shit that I haven't been able to do in 4 years. But that focus, when I'm watching for teeth or I'm watching for the sea turtles who are coming into nest, that focus is different for me, and it always has been. As someone who has ADD, when I get into that zone, everything around me is kind of not there. And then when you'll hear that shuffling or you'll have someone tap you that nobody's there, kind of throws shit off a lot. And you just kind of go, what now? Here we go.
Sure. I love it. Well, very good. Thank you for clarifying that. Yeah. People are saying that those people look like paper dolls. Paper doll people. What the fuck is that? Why do they look like that? Is there a legit photography definition of what's going on there? Why all of those people look like they have hoods or masks, or it looks like they got something weird on there, man.
We didn't get really close to them because they were kind of being kumbaya-ish. And then there were probably 9 or 10 of us that had gone to the beach to watch that rocket launch. And as soon as the rocket launched, they took off. They packed up and they went too. So
they're fucking aliens, dog.
It's weird.
Mr. Ponton, thank you very much for
brother.
being the man on the street. We appreciate that. We are going to start to wind down a little bit. I do want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. I've had great fun.
That was boss.
Couple more emails. Bird, thank you so much for the recommendation of Phenomenon. It was the best UFO documentary I've ever seen. So much evidence, and you are right. Those kids in Zimbabwe are not lying. Something happened out there. Love the podcast. Belinda, people say, Bert, are you getting paid by this documentary Phenomenon? No. Y'all need to watch it. It's free on YouTube right now. It is, in my opinion, the best UFO/alien documentary of all time. The Zimbabwe case, the reason why I keep bringing it up to people, because I know no one's going to ever check this shit out. I want to annoy you. I want to be a dick face going, oh, he's talking about that shit again. Yep. Y'all need to check out the Zimbabwe case in 1994. If you're part of the Weird and Whatever crew, meaning the people that listen, do the work with us. Check out that shit. It's free on YouTube right now. Do I got a commitment, chat room?
You have a commitment from me. I'm going to watch tonight.
Tonight. Vicky, have you seen it?
On a Thursday.
Will you please watch it for me?
On a Thursday.
Yeah.
Promise?
I'll watch it Sunday.
Love it.
I'll watch it this weekend as well.
Ponton, None of you motherfuckers have seen this shit.
I'm watching it tonight.
I've been preaching.
We don't give in to peer pressure, okay?
I'm watching it tonight.
I
I
said I was
can't
gonna watch
even
it
get
like
my
2 weeks
fucking
ago.
team. I've been talking about it for 2 years.
I'm watching it tonight.
Nobody fucking ever does anything, Denny's. Well, y'all, thank you so much for listening. Send me your original shit. I've got about 9,000 songs. You guys got to send it on a MP3, or you have to send it on a YouTube link. We want to really get singer-songwriters out there that are local, that write their own music to end the podcast on. But don't send me some fucking weird file where I now have to download a thing. And you should put your shit on YouTube. Wouldn't you say, Denny's? If you're a musician writing your own shit, get a YouTube channel going. If you
Why
don't,
not?
Absolutely.
got to,
Work
man.
for
Put a
Bieber.
Spotify up. Something.
Well, it's just easy to send a link on YouTube.
no-brainer.
My dad
It's no brainer.
can do a YouTube thing. So I'm not trying to be a dick when I say that. I'm saying that to help y'all.
Yeah.
It will help you. If you do a MP3 file or a YouTube channel thing, that would be a great thing to get your music out there. With that said, thank you guys for tuning in to the Weird and Whatever podcast. We love you all, and
Bigfoot is real.
What was that? What? What's that sound? It's aliens and they're living in your town. They have arrived. What? They're all around. So many aliens living in your town. Are you scared of aliens? Well, you should be.